Hello everyone, this is Artemis, Alchemist, Astrologer and Tarot Reader. So today is the full moon. It's in Leo. So we've got the moon, which is the water element, in the fiery sign of Leo. Actually, my moon is in Leo, so I have a lot of connections to this. It's the person that is the healer but can be out in the public. It's a little bit of a paradox because the moon tends to want to go within and to take care of self, and yet Leo is about being out there, visible, with all the charisma and leadership and attention on the moon. So we've got this full moon. The full moon is oftentimes, we put all our attention in sort of the Western culture on the full moon, but actually the full moon is the completion of what was set into motion from the new moon. So now we're in the final stages of letting go of whatever has been started, needs to be completed. And so it's really kind of a switch to put our attention more on setting our intentions in the new moon, and then the full moon is the time where we start to let go, we can rest, we can allow things to play out until the next new moon. We also have the sun right now in Aquarius, so the corresponding tarot card is the star. So we've got this, again, this kind of shiny charisma, attention happening around this full moon, as well as the tarot card for Leo is the strength card. And this is a lot about passion. I brought out my wand, which is a correspondence to the fire. So it's all that kind of mission around one's passion, one's drive, what one is going forward out to be seen, to be visible. And so we're coming into kind of the full tilt of that. And then there's the letting go of this as we go into the last 2 weeks of the moon cycle. Quickly with the altar, I just want to point out in the east, we've got the incense, the correspondence today. I connected it to the sun, for the full moon is in the sun sign of Leo. And I wanted something kind of sweet, which I think is kind of this connection between the moon and Leo. And so I chose the honey incense. In the south, we've got the fire, and I have the wand, which corresponds also to the fire. On the north side, we have the crystal. Actually, I'm going to sort of pull over. I've got some, basically, I've got the amber for the sun and pearls for the moon. We also have the silver here, which is the correspondence to the moon. And we've just got this kind of tension going, right? With the moon is the water, corresponding metal for the moon is silver. And then we have the sun. So we've got the corresponding metal for the sun is gold. So I'm going to just kind of just bring out the metallic correspondence in the forces of the sun and the moon here. And then this is so cool. I really find this really fascinating, how much we've got this kind of push-pull with the sun and the moon, and how that is coming forward in this full moon. The correspondence for the sun, for the spagyric, is the rosemary. So a few drops under the tongue brings this out. And also the full moon's happening on a Sunday, so we've got the sun element again. And then the moon spagyric is the poppy seed. And wow, this is really a fun time of year where, for those of you who have been wow, the spagyrics are strong. So those of you who've been following me, we came out of the Imbolc, or actually we're in the Imbolc period, which is that period when the sun is starting to have its homecoming, and we're kind of springing into springtime around the equinox on March 21st. So it's a very dynamic time with this full moon, an exciting time, and really sort of pull ourselves inward and then out into the public, into visibility in our community and in our world. So I'm going to shuffle the cards. I think you guys know how we work here. I want you kind of to take a moment and think about which element you're drawn to. We've got the fire element really strong with the Leo, where the moon is in the full moon, and then we've got the moon itself is the water element, and then you can choose the air element or the earth element. Okay, so here we go. The water element is the crescent moon. These are Vedic symbols. I'm going to put the fire here with the red triangle. We've got the earth with the yellow square, and the air with the blue circle. So just take a moment, see what you're drawn to, and see what this tarot reading has in store for you to kind of unlock how you want to proceed for the next moon cycle as we completed from the full moon until the new moon. So for those of you who found me on the full moon, it's in Leo, and you were, and you were attracted to the water element. Here, our crescent moon went for a flight into the Strength card, which is a lot about our passions and our desires and our strength and our vitality. So we have this, this is the Strength card, corresponds to the Leo. She's quite beautiful there with her lion, and there's just a kind of spring of passion, right? Okay, let's see what the cards have for those of you who found me on the full moon and was attracted to the water element. Okay, so I'm going to turn over the first card. There's some hesitance here around the Eight of Cups. So this is a leaving behind. There has been some difficulties, some struggles, and it's time to now just put them in the past. And I think that's a nice message for the full moon. Whatever isn't needed, it's time to let go. And then we come into the Death card, the 13, and this is again a reminder that we have a choice. We can take this road or we can take that road. And as we're sort of leaving things behind, it means we have new openings and new choices become possible and present themselves. So just, be conscious around what choices you're making and what direction you're moving towards in this full moon period. Again, upside down, I'm going to turn it over. So there's some kind of speed bump here. And the Five of Wands, remember the wands, it's that fiery passion. And there's just this kind of like, okay, I think like this. No, I think like that. No, I think like that. And there's this kind of struggle of ego and, my desires and your desires. And we've got to kind of hash them out and figure out how we're going to make this all work. And then when we have come to some kind of synergy, let's say around that kind of friction, we come to the world, and it was upside down. So it's just, again, a reminder that sometimes through the struggles, by actually going through the struggles and fighting for one's passions, we inherit the world. And we are celebrating this full moon in this very special time in Leo. So we've got this again, this visibility and this charisma, and the world is kind of paying attention to you. So very interesting cards for those of you who found me on the full moon and was attracted to the water element. And just a kind of quick recap, you've got this time to just let go, leave some things that are just not working for you behind, and this opens up some choices, some new directions. So be conscious about your next steps. And there's this kind of fiery battling of one's egos and desires and passions. And out of that energy comes the world that you're inheriting, manifesting, and being visible out there in the world. For those of you who found me on the full moon in Leo and was attracted to the fire element. So there's a lot of fire energy going on. And yeah, I didn't say like Aquarius is the air element. A lot of times people think it's the water element. So there's this kind of, being the sun in Aquarius, we have that stimulation of ideas and new ideas and thinking differently and finding unique solutions and all of that. So let's see what we're looking at for those of you who found me on the full moon and was attracted to the fire element. So we've got the Hangman. So there's this need to kind of take a pause and just take a sigh. So the fire can get burnt out, and this is not really burnt out as much as, let me just kind of see things from a different viewpoint. Let me put a pause button here and just see if I can get another complete 180 look at what's going on in my life. And so that's interesting, especially like I said, with the full moon, we're coming into the completion, the letting go, what needs to be finished. And it's a good time to take a pause and re-examine how you're going to do that. The Seven of Pentacles is just a recognition of, okay, there's been a lot of work done. Now I'm harvesting. I've collected the resources, the money, it's like the harvest is in, and I'm feeling satiated. I'm feeling good about the work that I've done. I'm going to turn this over. There's some resistance around the Ace of Cups, and yet it's like, okay, this is on the emotional level. There's a new awakening, a new deeper sense of emotional inspiration that will start to unfold as you kind of finish up this cycle of the moon with the full moon. And we have my favorite card, the High Priestess. She's upside down. And it's, on the emotional level that's brought out by the Ace of Cups, it's also a chance to really connect with one's emotional realm, the water realm, which is the moon. And then the High Priestess is going within for the intuition, for the guidance, for the oracles. For those of you who found me, the High Priestess is very much attuned to working with divination and being navigated by sources of information that are not on the intellect, ego level, but much deeper within on the unconscious, subconscious levels. So this fire element is just a very interesting, to take a pause, look at things from a new angle, acknowledge all the hard work and reaping the benefits of it. And then there's this Ace of Cups to just overflow one's emotional energies in an inspiring way and to seek guidance from the oracle within. Okay, for those of you who found me on the full moon, which is in Leo, and was attracted to the earth element, let's see what the cards have to tell us. Okay, so we've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is just, let's really join together in our close, intimate relationships. It could be family, it could be our tight community, and just to recognize that we feel good when we're in our community and we're being acknowledged, and we share our times together, good meals and a nice walk, and it's just a sweet reminder how important our relationships are in our lives, and to not forget them and to nurture them and to support them. So the Ten of Pentacles, it's a very earthy, it's the pentacles, it's the earth element. And it's about really trusting and recognizing how important our intimate relationships are. And then we've got the Nine of Wands. This is a fire element. This is, okay, I've done my battles around my passions and what I stand for, and nobody's messing with me. So, you know, there has been a need up to now maybe to fight for your basics in terms of survival, or it could be just your self-esteem, or it could be just really like, okay, I know how I need to do things, and people have been not supportive. But it doesn't matter now, because the Nine of Wands, you're standing strong, the battles are done, and people are acknowledging and recognizing your boundaries. And we've got the Three of Pentacles, which is, okay, there's this attention to detail. There's a little bit of this perfectionistic quality here of, okay, I need to really pay attention to what matters and give that sort of focus in my life. And I'm going to turn this over. This is a complicated card actually, because the Temperance is, in our society, that we have so few role models of how do we do the lemniscus, the Ouroboros, the swing between the material world and the spiritual world, and how do we keep these in balance. And you can see he's juggling, and he's got one foot in the water. Remember, we're in the full moon, which is the water element, in the fire, which is kind of the being seen out in the world and the material level attention. So the Temperance is a really interesting card for this full moon of, okay, can we balance these two elements, these two ways of experiencing life on the deep inner emotional spiritual level, and then on the more outward material, bright, fiery kind of element. So just a real quick recap. It's those of you who found me on the full moon, which is in Leo. We've got this 10 of Pentacles of just how important our relationships are, and to celebrate them and to acknowledge them and to nurture them. And that we now have set our boundaries. People are accepting them, and we, you know, it was a hard road to get there, but we know where we stand with what matters to us. And there's just a question here around being a little bit perfectionistic, very attention to detail around what's important to you in your life. And out of this comes this kind of balance between the material world and the spiritual world, and how to navigate the two to really bring out the best of you in this full moon period. Here we are on the full moon in Leo. It's a fire sign. And for those of you who were drawn to the air element, the sun right now is in Aquarius. It's an air element sign. And so let's see what the cards want to tell us here. Okay, so we've got the Page of Wands. This is a fiery kind of curiosity around our passions, what matters to us, our desires. And there's an innocence around this of just like, let me go and explore. Maybe you're going to take on a new hobby, or you're going to try something new that you are ready to just kind of jump in and go and try it. So I think this is a really interesting time to just, you know, take on something new with, you know, that's in your kind of passionate sense of what makes you really challenge yourself in that, and just approach it with innocence and curiosity. And we've got the Two of Pentacles. I'm going to turn around. There's some hesitancy. This is kind of a speed bump because maybe you have to juggle a bunch of things. The Two of Pentacles is an earth sign, and we're just, you know, it's like, how do we manage all the different elements and plates that we kind of have in our lives? And you're doing it. It's always kind of tricky, but there, you know, you can see she's just going to make it across this tightrope. And so we've got the Three of Swords. There's some kind of heartbreak. It's upside down. Maybe it's been the struggle. There's some suffering here. Let's just see what the card has to bring to sort of resolve this. So there's a King of Wands. It's interesting, the Page of Wands. We've got the King of Wands. This is a fire element. There's a sense of protection around what matters to you. I would suggest you might want to seek this out in someone who has authority, who has your best interests at heart, to seek advice around what really, where you kind of were stabbed, where you felt like your heart was broken. It is on the air element, so something around your beliefs and your your ego, your intellect was damaged, and the King of Wands is sort of calling that how to get above it in a passionate, divine way. It could be through trying something new, as we have already mentioned. And then we've got the King of Cups. So we've got two kings here to help heal. And the King of Cups is a protector of one's emotional realm, of really taking care of the emotional well-being. So I would seek this out. If you don't know these people, or you don't know who this is in your life, then you can go within and find the protector of your emotional realm, and the king, the powerful element, piece of you that has some authority around what is passionate in your life. So this kind of wraps up our reading for the air element. Just a quick recap. We've got the Page of Wands with this sense of curiosity to go out and try something new around one's passion. There's this juggling of all of kind of life's needs and tasks and all of that. And then some kind of broken heart, some kind of suffering, something just went amiss, and the cards are calling you to find the authorities in your life, whether they're out there or in you, that will touch on your passions and your desires and protect you to go out into the world and really explore them, as well as the King of Cups, who is the protector of the emotional realm. So it's an interesting time for this full moon. It's a really beautiful time because it pulls out that inner self with the moon in Leo to call the light out, to get attention, to be seen. And it's all happening in the sun period in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and it really is, again, a kind of exciting new way of looking at the world.